You're in a hard rock metal band. You're supposed to look like that. I mean,
That's true.
all right. I'm interviewing Sarah and Jeff from the local original hard rock heavy metal band Mind Maze, arguably one of the best bands in the Lehigh Valley, period, and possibly beyond with some of the places you played. First question: how'd you get the name for the band?
I wish there was like a great story for this, but there really isn't. Like, yeah, honestly, we kind of just, when we changed our name from our old name, we used to be called Necromance before this. Like, yeah, we just kind of sat around and just kind of threw things together to kind of, you know, and I don't know. I'd also, when I was younger, there was like a game that came with Microsoft and Carta for like Windows 98.
Yep.
And it was called Mind Maze. And like, it's funny, I didn't think of the name from the game and say, let's name it that. But like, the name came to mind, and then I kind of realized after the fact, I'm like, I guess that's why it's in my head subconsciously.
It's a unique story, though. It is, you know, it's definitely a unique way to come about. So Microsoft does have some use, though. So how long have you total since you started playing and singing? How long?
I mean, I've been singing forever, since I'm, you know, a little kid. I think the like first known thing.
You're young enough to make me seem like a dinosaur. I don't.
But the first like big thing was when I was a kid and Pocahontas came out. I always sang the songs from that. So that's like really where I started. But I mean, I've just been singing for forever, and I mean, it's funny. I actually didn't start out with any hopes of wanting to be like a rock or metal singer. I actually wanted to be a country singer. That's what I wanted to do for forever, and I kind of just like grew into the whole rock and metal thing when I was like, you know, middle school age. That's when that started to happen. So
like around the time that, like, you know, I started getting, we kind of got into the music at the same time. Yeah, which was like, you know, around like maybe like 11, 12, 13-ish. Yeah, and that's around the time I started playing guitar, so I guess that's like 12 or 13 years ago at this point.
Damn.
Yeah, we've actually been playing like in the band format for almost 10 years at this point, which seems crazy. But we met our drummer Kalen like when, you know, Jeff met him in middle school, and yeah, we actually formed the band like when they were.
What is going on?
When we were like super young, so yeah.
They're not going to the south side, so it can't be alcohol related.
Please, Chase. But yeah, we've only been carrying the name Mind Maze for about 2.5 years now. But yeah, it was like about an 8-year build to that. We used to be called Necromance, but we were basically like a kid band at the time. Like, it was like kind of like what we did to kind of like cut our teeth or whatever, like to get better. And then when we reached a level where we're like, all right, we're ready to finally try to like take this like to a professional level, we decided to change the name and kind of like rebrand ourselves a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take it into your first CD, Mask of Lies. I was born in '71. That's why I said you made me feel like a dinosaur now. But I can remember back when I was growing up, when the bands would put out an album. It wasn't, let's get out the next hit fast enough. Some of the albums, Pink Floyd, The Wall, classic example, actually had a story to it. And from the first moment I listened to that CD, first song to last, it seemed like each song carried its own story, but you take out one of those songs and you don't get the whole story of the CD. Was that intentional?
Honestly, no.
Or am I totally misinterpreting things?
There's not really, I wouldn't call it like a concept album or anything. I mean, I think there's like some themes that are kind of like running, you know, a little bit like lyrical themes or whatever that might like run through from like a song to a song. But like, yeah, musically, I've always wanted to make like a really like coherent album that I think has like, you know, a lot of, like, it's not just a set of 10 songs, you know, it's kind of, there's different types of songs. There's, you know, there's your more up-tempo songs, your mid-tempo songs, like a ballad, and like one or two like kind of like bigger, more like progressive epic type songs. And it's like, yeah, I like stuff that I think is like, I think it's well-rounded, but I mean, yeah, there really was no intentional concept or anything.
Okay.
Through to the whole thing.
Yeah. Like I said, you know, it was like from the first moment I listened to it, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm taking it wrong. Listen to it again, it's like, it seemed like the order was like almost like a chronological order in the songs.
I mean, it's weird because, I mean, yeah, to be honest, like, there is no right or wrong interpretation. I mean, I could, like, you know, sit here and, like, tell you what I wrote each song about specifically, but
I actually wrote lyrics to 2 songs on the first
Yeah, Jeff
album.
actually wrote
I don't
some
do that
lyrics.
anymore.
But, like, yeah,
Hey, did a good job.
We could talk about what we were thinking and stuff, but, like, you know, I think that's kind of part of the process that I really like, is that the people, like the fans and the people that hear the album, get to kind of make their own interpretation of it. And I mean, that's one of the things that I really like about doing this.
Okay. Now, when did you, like, when did you come up with the idea? Like, when was there an actual moment where you said, okay, let's go for the first album, or was it kind of like just a progression?
It was sort of like we kind of went through a period where, like, while we were still carrying the name Necromance, we like lost our long-term bass player, and we kind of went into like a rut where we weren't really gigging very much. A lot of the places we used to play at started to close, and we were kind of just at a point where we're like, you know, we reached an age where we realized that we couldn't go about doing this the way I think we originally wanted to when we were kids, which is, you know, everyone has the idea that, like, oh, we're going to start a band, we're going to gig locally, generate a local following, you know, and then try to, you know, seek a record deal or something. It's like, we kind of basically just got to a point where we kind of got sick of doing things the way we were doing them and said, well, if we're ever going to take that next leap forward, we have to take the initiative to put an album together, you know, that's of like a professional quality, and then try to see what we can do with that.
Right.
Try to get our foot in the door. And it's like, yeah, it wasn't really like, there wasn't like this one like big epiphany we had one day, but yeah, it was just like the result of like maybe like a couple months or a year worth of kind of feeling like dejected, like where we were going wasn't really doing a whole lot. And the guy that was playing bass with us at the time, like as a temporary guy, was John Gaffney of the band Sinister Realm. And we had seen the initiative John had taken with getting Sinister Realm off the ground, basically building it from the ground up. And, you know, John kind of like became an inspiration for us to try to do the same thing.
Okay, well, you actually led into my next topic right there. It used to be, we lived in the era where you bought the full album, the full 8-track, yes, I do remember those, the full CD, whatever. Now we live in basically a singles market, am I correct? Where it's like people, they'll be a lot faster to spend 99 cents on a single versus, and also we live in the era of the indies versus, it used to have to be, okay, to be heard, you used to have to, you know, get a record deal. Now we live in the era of the indies across the board with the arts. Do you think that this is both has helped, hurt, or a little bit of both as far as the artists and the industry in general?
I mean, it's really tough because I think there's some very big positives and, you know, some negatives as well. I mean, I think, you know, the positives outweigh the negatives, but the thing about it is, with the market being so open to so many more people, with like everyone being able to like get, you know, make music, like it's so easy for everyone to just do it at home and stuff these days. Like the market is so oversaturated. There's so many things for people to choose from that some people they have a hard time like selecting from all the things that are thrown at them.
Right.
They kind of just end up throwing in the towel, being like, you know, I can't do this anymore, and this.
Hey, it's the other one.
But
This is why I love doing interviews.
But, you know, the positive side of that is at this point, we are still independent. We're not signed.
Right.
We don't have management. We've done
We're not?
everything.
We're not signed?
This is what talent's good for, so not be serious.
Oh,
I'll bought me another drink, sorry guys.
But, like, yeah, I mean, it's done a lot of good things for us because we're not signed or anything. We've done everything on our own, and without the ability to have a kind of indie market to be able to do this stuff on our own and just handle it all ourselves, you know, we'd have nothing. So it's kind of just like,
a lot of it too comes down to, like, you know, you don't have a hope of succeeding as an independent artist if you don't have like a drive and a work ethic to like really propel yourselves. And like, you know, the amount of time that we've spent just trying to like knock down doors with our stuff, mostly through the internet more than anything.
Right.
you know, has been pretty immense. But it's like, yeah, it's, you know, it's paid off. It's like, you know, there's interest in, you know, I mean, we sold CDs to like 19 countries.
Yeah.
So, you know, something's working.
Yeah. So, but now, time for the band to really brag here, and you've earned it. And I think you know where I'm going with this. You've already opened. You're working. You know, you're on CD number 2, and you have opened for some major bands already. How did? This is time for you guys to brag because you've earned it.
I mean, the thing about it is, like, with opening shows, it's kind of all just like luck as far as like getting the right situation at the right time. And I mean, yeah, obviously, I'm not at all saying that we didn't deserve any of this stuff. Like you work real hard, and you're not going to get anything like that without being quality,
right?
Without having something good. It's not just random bands, but you know, it's kind of all about the situation. And like the Motley Crue thing was that's obviously the biggest band that we've opened for. I mean, it kind of just happened at perfect timing where you know, Jane from ZZO discovered us like at like the moment before that contest happened. Like, she found our stuff like right before that, so we were like right in the forefront of her mind when she went to go select finalists. And I mean, you know,
part of it was part of it was
their management had to choose us from the finalists that she gave
and
them.
That's what I'm most, like, I guess, proud of about being selected for that was it wasn't like a popularity contest thing where they just selected somebody that was like a member of the local community, like they didn't put it to a vote or whatever. They just had Motley Crue's management just unbiasedly listen to the songs and, you know, just pick the best one, and they thought that was us. So
okay,
you know.
I mean, like some of it's luck, but like even then it's not luck. It's instead like
you still have to take the opportunities.
You got to take as many opportunities as possible. So
we do a lot of
one
things.
out of every 10 things that we put our foot in the door for follows through with. It's a good.
Yeah, we do a lot of things where we basically, like, I'll just kind of like tell it, like I'll ask everybody, I'm like, hey, do you want to submit to do this? I'm like, I don't think we're gonna get picked, but you never know. Like that was the mentality we had when that thing came around. But I'm like, what
do you have to lose?
You're not gonna win the lottery if you don't play.
What does it hurt to take, you know, 10 minutes to fill out a form and email a song, and, you know, all the work was already put in and
by
making
us filling out a form, we mean him or her.
Now, with the major bands you've opened for, honestly, was it a serious rush to do that and be like out in front of, you know, what was the rush? Can it be, if you can describe it, what was that rush like, honestly?
I mean, to be honest,
better than any drug I've ever taken.
I've never taken any drugs, so I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. I feel like you know, particularly that Motley Crue experience was over before it started.
Fast.
It was over.
Yeah, it was.
You don't even have time to process it when you're up there either. It's like, you know, when we went up there, you know, we got like 5 songs, and it's like, you know, it's over so fast, and it's like if you're up there, you know, especially like, you know, like her and I try to like move around when we get a big stage to play on. We like to move around it and take advantage of it, and like
around the stage when I
the mobile drum kit. But
hey, the 80s had the keytar, remember that?
Well, then the drum tar. Let's do it.
Like we like to, you know, we'll have like wireless units, and like we like to like, run around, and like, you know, my favorite band of all time is Iron Maiden, and like they're just absolutely nuts on the stage. So it's like, yeah, we like to borrow from that a little bit. It's like, yeah, when you're so like in the moment like that, and you're really trying to, you know, like perform and do your thing, but also entertain, it's like you don't really have time to sit up there and process it. Like, I really don't remember what it was like being on that stage.
I just remember it was fun.
It was fun, and you know, the best part about it for me was that we got to go into like a super professional, because even most of the other shows we've done where we've opened for national or international acts, it was cool, and especially like cool for us because like we like these bands a lot. We're big fans of them, like bands like Saxon and Primal Fear. But
wasn't
it
the
was a
people
small
you were-
scale experience.
And
Yeah.
people who were like in charge, we kind of knew. They were almost like friends, almost. So
Yeah, like it was.
we knew nobody.
It was better.
So
Yeah, most of these other shows are better than what we normally deal with, but it's still the Motley Crue thing was like a whole other level, and it's like we felt so great that we like went in there and we got to do the whole professional band thing.
Yeah.
And we felt like we did a great job with it. So
Okay, one final question. We'll wrap this up. And by the way, I will never forget the first time I heard this band,
when was it?
Damsels of Darkness,
Oh, really?
over at the Gin Mill. And for some reason,
Time ago. It was a long time ago.
the sound was great that night. And I went on record as far as my thoughts about the sound over at the Gin Mill. So if I piss people off, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was the first time I saw this band, and I was blown away. But I was like, holy shit,
technically headlining the show.
Yeah. But since you're working your asses off the way it used to be done, from basically the garage band level on up, not this, okay, let's pop something up on YouTube, get 3 million hits and get signed by a record company, or let's win American Idol. You know what I mean? Since you're working your asses off, what advice would you give to other especially like new musicians, even if they're like 45 years old, retired early, and said, you know what, I've always wanted to do it, let's just see what the hell happens.
Nothing's given you. That's another thing. You got to work for it. Like you can't
I mean, it's like obviously
you don't deserve it unless you work for it.
talent is very important, but that's not all it. I mean, if you have a band of extremely really talented musicians, like virtuosos, if they all just sit there and no one really cares enough to put in all that effort, then it's no one's gonna know about it. It's
I think you need to have at least, if not a whole band filled with people like this. I mean, you need like initiative and drive and dedication to what you want to do, and a vision of what that is, and a sense of integrity about it.
Having Michael Pond helps. Just get Michael Pond. That's it. Actually, let me close that. Get Michael Pond.
Yeah, it's really leaving.
I was trying to do it for the comedic effort.
It's not going to be fast, and also don't burn bridges. We made a few mistakes when we were kids, where we were too quick. Now, I really don't believe in like senseless ass kissing, and it's like I don't feel like we're rude to people, but it's like I don't know.
You're not going to bow down to anybody either.
Yeah, like I think you should have a sense of integrity and pride in what you do. But when we were young, we were fucking stupid about it, and burned some bridges with some people and said some stupid stuff that probably we thought we were like, and we look back.
Why
now,
aren't we opening up for Motley Crue yet?
We look back now on the way we were back then, and we're like, geez, we sucked, and we had like an attitude.
Watching
Now we don't have an attitude.
videos, we're like, why do we think we were good?
My thing with that is from our perspective, I don't see how anyone that's an adult could possibly hold any of what we did as kids against us, because what teenager doesn't act like they know everything?
What adult doesn't act stupid at times,
It happens. Kids act like that, and I mean, yes, we were stupid, and unfortunately there are still some people out there that still somehow hold it against us now, and I think we're still fine. I don't, we've burned some bridges, but I'm not really, heartbroken over any of them, really. I mean, I'm sure there's a few things that could help us out, but
we've made up. Like with some
There
of the
are
bridges
some
we burned.
burn some bridges, build some new ones, right?
Exactly. Build new ones, and like the ones that were important to us that we realized we were stupid for doing, we kind of made up with them. We're now friends with them.
And like the only other thing I would say is basically that don't be afraid to look for your opportunities wherever they are and just go after them, because I know there are some people out there that might give us flack for the fact that we play mostly outside of this area. We play a lot of shows in places like the Philly area or Baltimore, DC, New Jersey, New York. You know, it's nothing personal against this area at all. It's just the fact that for our kind of music, I mean, the bands we really love and look up to and kind of have styled ourselves after for the most part, they don't do well in this area.
Well,
you know, let alone an independent band trying to work from the ground up. There's not a big metal community.
I'll go on record and say this: the Lehigh Valley, I've taken notice. Especially for original bands outside a place like here at the Wooden Match, you have to go outside of the area because it's like most of the venues just want the cover bands, and even if it's a band like you guys that will slam a place, oh okay, whatever. So you almost, it's the area. To a point, it is the area, you know, and I'll say that.
And like I don't believe. Yeah, people think that like there's like bad blood or something over it. It's not like,
they're
honestly,
businesses. We're playing at businesses.
Yeah.
Money.
And like
We
I
understand
don't ever say a bad word about cover bands. I think they have their place. You know, it's just that what we do is kind of a different animal. So it's like we kind of have to look in different places, and you know,
and like everywhere that they're you know, it's kind of unfortunate because when we were younger it was different. But there's like, you know, all the places, all those places that like were great for us to play when we were younger. That, you know, like places like, oh my God,
sorry,
can we like stop? Like, but the places like, you know, when like Croc Rock was really a big deal, and like the Sterling Hotel, and there were even other places.
And they weren't always
like places like the Gin Mill don't want original music like what we do there on a regular basis. They don't want it. It's a great place that could be a good place for it, but that's not what they want.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, it's hard. And if there's places elsewhere that really have what we're looking for and people that want to come out and
we've gone and had success going to other places, and you know, we've played in places like Baltimore and Washington DC, and you know, we like had a fan base before we even went there. Like, you know, not in huge numbers, but it's like the first show we ever played in Baltimore had people at it, you know, that we'd never met before. They heard the music because of, you know,
they were singing along. Their first time down there. They were like singing along.
You know, and I'm like,
what's going on?
So it's like we've been trying to nurture that where we can find it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Quick preview of the, and I'm sure a lot of people, myself included, are in this category. Quick preview of the new project, without giving anything away.
I mean, like to sum it up, I mean, well, how we feel about it. It's
like, an acapella version of one of the songs. That'll be a preview.
We obviously feel like that we're, you know, moving in a positive direction, and we're happy with the new album, as in we feel like it's better than Mask of Lies.
It's more concise direction too.
I mean, like, I can't speak for anyone else's opinion of it. You're gonna, you know, you'll have to wait until you hear it, but
I
feel
think
like
it's better.
Kind of,
like,
you know, Mask of Lies had a lot of pieces, a lot of different stylistic elements, a lot of things that kind of came together. And I think in this album, we really made the songs all feature all of it more. It's more of a, like, you know, everything's more like coherent, and it's all a big, you know, it kind of comes together in a much bigger picture rather than just the songs individually.
Well, if the preview of the cover that you posted, if the preview of the cover that you posted is any indication, the wait, it's going to be worth the wait, and especially with people like me whose definition of patience is a good song by Guns N' Roses. Well, thank you very much for your time, especially after the intense show you just did. So, but looking forward to everything, and your fan base will continuously grow. You got, I've said this after the first time, you know, after listening to Mask of Lies, you are probably, if there was going to be any band that's going to make it from the Lehigh Valley, you're one of the few that I would say, definitely, I would place money on it. So, hope, you know, definitely. And I don't say that about too many people. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.